bird stonefly, we're going to head back to 1974 and we're going to do the original Jack Dennis Western trout fly tying manual. Bird stonefly. In 74, this was the realistic stonefly option, which is crazy. Now I guess it'd be considered on more of like the attractor side. If you look at a fly like the Moorish still stone or something like that, which is almost unrecognizable, especially when you're fishing it from one of the naturals floating on the water. But this fly is just killer, awesome fly, a lot of history, and one that will still work as good today as it always has. So thread base, orange thread, you can use black on this. The tail will be stripped hackle stems, and to strip them, just take like this thick section of one of your neck hackles. Saddle's going to be too skinny, and just grab the fibers and just pull them off. Just like that. We've already got this one done. I'm going to tie these in. And then you can clip them, adjust length however you want. Okay, so we got our V-tail there. Move the thread up just a little bit, and I'm going to tie in 2 hackles. Again, these are neck. If you can find some saddle that's stiff enough with size 6, this is a 2x long size 6 or 3x long size 6 hook. You just need the length and you need the stiffness here. So these guys, I'll tie them in from the base. Tie them in right up top and run your thread all the way back to about, we're going to leave about 1/3. I'm going to just do a quick hand whip finish, and I'm going to tie in some orange floss. You can wrap it with your fingers. The floss goes on a lot tighter out of a bobbin like this. So I usually use a bobbin just because A, it goes on a lot more evenly, but B, you can get it on tighter so it doesn't, being a multi-strand, if you don't get it on tight, part of the strands will want to creep out and stuff. So start it up here, wrap it back, go behind the hackles, so we left that little gap. And we're going to create a little taper here. So you're going to be using a bit of floss. I'll run it back one more time. And try to flatten this out a little bit. It's a little round right now, and if we flatten it out, it'll lay smoother. Okay. You can whip finish it. I'm just going to use tying thread to tie it off here. So reattach your thread. And tie it back over the top. Give her some tight wraps. And we're done. Real quick, I'm going to lacquer the body. I'm just going to use, I'm using loon hardhead. It can be pretty much anything. I'm just going to use my finger to kind of get it in the body, just push it in the body. This is a glossy finish. I like it because it dries really hard. But I'm pushing it like into the floss there. I don't necessarily want the gloss, I just want the durability. Take both your hackles and just start wrapping them forward. It's important not to use hackle pliers in this process. If you use hackle pliers, you'll get one loose and one tight. One hackle will go on nice and tight, and the other one will be real sloppy in here. And we don't want it sloppy. We want both of them in tight. And how that's achieved, I'll redo it here. But as you let it go, you can retighten both of them. Sorry, did that a little slower this time. Tie off. Clip the tips. Run it back. And if you have hackle fibers that are trapped or anything like that, you can just run a bodkin down and pick out any that are trapped. If you wanted to, you could run a counter wire rib on here just to make it a little bit more, durable. And then so I'm going to clip it real close up top. Real close underneath. So right now we're flat. Let's see. So that's the top version. We're flat, and I'm going to trim the sides, just leaving some stubble. So I want the sides a bit long, I want some fibers off to the sides. Like that. So we've got some substance here on the sides with the top and bottom flat. Now you can either use squirrel or natural brown bucktail to be authentic to the original fly, either the brown bucktail or squirrel. You can also use deer hair on rivers that have deer or elk that have kind of floatability problems, like the Deschutes is full of whirlpools and stuff like that tend to want to sink flies. You could use a little more buoyant hair. I'm going to use squirrel just because I like the kind of the authenticity of the whole thing. So fox squirrel. Throw her in the stacker here. Get rid of all the... Still haven't found my comb. Oh, look at that. Found my comb. Alright, so give her a comb, get all the little dudes out. Go ahead and stack her up. Wing about as long as the tail. And this is a pretty slippery fiber, so if you don't give yourself enough tying surface, it'll slip out in you. Another thing you can do is throw some Zap-A-Gap on your thread and then wrap it. I'm going to make a couple more nice good tight wraps on here, and then hold the butts at a 45 and trim it flat. And you can see now all of these hairs are at an angle. And so when I go to tie this in, it'll tie in all the tips. I'll get a hold on every single one of those tips individually. And it's not a bad idea to just, you know, at this point here, run a little zap-a-gap on the thread. Just as an insurance policy. Gonna make sure we really get this in there good. So now you can always test it too. It's a good time right now to pull it, and if it comes out, then you know you're not out of fly. You just gotta redo the wing. If it comes out, then you know, like, okay, or I mean if it doesn't come out, then you're good to go. Our forward hackle, I'm going to be using 2 browns again. This was kind of not the best, like this is like a grade 3 brown neck that I've had for a long time. And these necks just last forever. I probably had this, gosh, 10 years maybe. And these thicker stemmed, you know, they're perfect for doing these big kind of salmon fly drives. Great stimulator hackle, stuff like that. Okay, run our hackles up. I'm going to lock these in, wrap them back, just to make sure it doesn't slip out on me. I'm not too worried about creating too big of a head here. For the antenna, you can tie it in now or later. I'll just do it now. We've got 2 more hackle stems. I've already pre-stripped these. I'm going to actually point them up, I think. Okay. Be a little easier to tie those on now while we've got the room. And this hackle here is going to be denser than the body hackle. If you have a saddle that's not of, or a neck or whatever, that's not of like real great quality, it's fine to use 3. Use as many as you need to achieve the density. Got some fibers trapped in there. That'd be fine though. Doesn't have to be perfect. Oh, and then this is a good little trick too. We've done it on a bunch of steelhead flies before, but you can still do it on trout flies if you don't want a whip finish. You can throw a little zap-a-gap on the thread. Make your wraps, your final like 5 or 6 wraps. Wait about 10 seconds, and that'll be enough time to trim these little tips. And then just cut your thread. Okay, some of these fibers got a little trapped, so we're going to run our bodkin through, pop them out. Alright, again, haircut time. Fluff it out, make sure everything's kind of out, like bushed out. Trim the top flat. Bottom flat. And then the sides are going to be, depending on the length of hackle, we're just going to leave the sides alone. If the sides are way out, then trim them down, but this is about the right size out of the gate. So we're going to leave these alone. So that's what the top view looks like. Bottom view. And that is your completed birdstone. Classic fly. Dates back a long time. Will still work great on the rivers today, as it always has. May even work better because the fish just don't see these old patterns anymore, and they float super low. They're really awesome in the water. So give it a shot this season, and talk to you soon. Thanks.